history tomorrow. So all those news, all those current events that happens today, tomorrow, it will become history. So, ngayon, news ka pa, bukas patay ka na, magiging history ka na. So, ang problema, may magaganda pa kasaysayan na pwedeng basahin tungkol sa buhay mo. Parang wala naman. So, magkakalimutan ka. That's why, that is the challenge that we have, that we need to have a very good legacy. So kung bakla ka, dapat tayo ang nung pagpuling bakla. The best sa lahat. Kasi para we need to live a history. So if you are a historian, you need to see to it that you can also contribute something to the field of history that people will always remember. And that is the essence of history. And if you're going to relate to our lives, yun naman talaga ang pinakalayunin natin. That we need to do good things because that is the things that we want people will remember us. So ano gusto mo mailiwan mo?
My good deeds.
Ako? Para sa iyo, ano?
Sir, legacy, sir.
Ha?
Legacy.
What legacy?
Sir, ka na designer, kahit may talent that I can share or knowledge.
Or the knowledge. You want to impart knowledge to them. Ano yung knowledge? What kind of knowledge is that?
Sir.
Knowledge sa kamunduhan, sa daigdig na ito.
Sir,
Gusto na kayo. Ano ka na sa ulan, no? Ano dito?
Zumba.
Ano dito?
Ala, ganamit yun, sir. Dancer.
Dancer. No, I cannot dance. Kahit ka ba ng mga ano. Ha? Ano ba?
Julia!
Alam mo, dali lang pumunta dali na kamu pumunta sa ng pinita managsayaw o manag-awit magtuloy-tuloy ka picture ano rin Nugi break, dagi tayo break. It's life. Wow. So I enjoy life. Because life is easy for me. Okay, let's proceed. So, as what we have reviewed, it becomes an account of the past of a person or group of people to written documents and historical evidences. So take note, because in these subjects, reading in the Philippine history and entry to historiography, it will teach us on how the history is written and how are we going to evaluate the sources of history. Because history, like science, it is always based on facts, reality. Sa totoo lang tayo. But one of the issues that are being raised nowadays in relation to the writing of history is the revisionism. Revisionism. Of course, alam nga naman Marcos would highlight people's powers revolution. Because it's a revolution that is the time that the Marcos family was ousted from the Malacanang Palace. Pinalayas. So kung ikaw, masiyahan ka ba? Are you going to highlight? Pag iniwan ka ng boyfriend mo, anong gagawin mo? Magpapapiesta ako. Kasi, I always think na it is not my loss. Kung mawala man siya, marami naman iba. Di ba? Marami ng iba na nakapila. So magkakapiyesta. Happy fiesta. Yes! Ganon! That is life. So magpapahirapan. So the same. That is the issue why there is a revisionism. So, may mga binago na mga katotohanan na it was already written, and that is the issues in the writing of history. So, as we open the possibility of following historical sources, we were not limited only to the written documents. I think we've discussed one. So these are the questions and issues in history. Before we're going to delve into the questions and issues of history, let us know first what is historiography. The history of history. That is historiography. I will take this one. History and historiography should not be confused with each other. History is the event or period and the study of it, while historiography is the study of how history was written, who wrote it, and what factors influence how it was written. So, don't be confused with the two distinct terms, historiography and history. Because history is the event or the different events or period and the study of it. While historiography, the study of how history was written, who wrote it, what factors influence how it was written. So, what is being presented here is the importance of historiography. I think, para nag-discuss, ako nag-ibali, the purpose is to establish continuity. Kasi yung iba, hindi naman yun nakinig. Dito na tayo sa positivism. These are the theory in the writing of history, which is positivism. So this school of thought that emerged between 18th and 19th century, this thought requires empirical, observable evidence. So meaning, to see is to believe. Yung talagang nakikita, talagang nararanasan. There is a concrete example and it does not rely on what is hearsay. So ibig sabihin, yung totoo. So to see is to believe. One can claim that a particular knowledge is true. So talagang nakikita mo gamit ang mga mata mo, which is observable. That's why it is objective. So the truth that is being arrived, if you are going to use the theory of positivism in the writing of history, is unobjective. When can we say that the truth that we have arrived in writing the history is objective? Kailan natin masasabi?
When the answer in the story is factual and then having evidence.
Yes, when it is based on facts and it is free from biases. It is free from biases. Kasi pag siya yung magsabi sa kanya, sino ang maganda sa kanilang dalawa, at siya yung tatanungin ko, of course, maganda ka. Pag siya naman, maganda ka dahil. What? Of course. So it should be based on facts, objectives. So buto-buto tayo, sino yung maganda sa kanilang dalawa? Di ba? Pag buto-buto, taas ang tingin. So, arriving the truth based on what is objective. Yung sa totoo ng tayo. Another theory in relation to how history was written is the so-called post-colonialism. Akala nyo, reading in the Philippine history, makaharap tayo ni Rizal, Bonifacio at Gapa, Diyos na yun, tapos na yan. Diba? Patay na nga sila, dapat matulog na sila ng mahimbing. Hindi na natin sila huhukayin pa. Di ba? Sa high school, sige kayo, lagi lang mong diskutan sila. Ito, Hindi na yan ganoon. When you were in college, we are going to study how those history that you have studied are being written. Mayroon bang katotohanan? Hindi ba yun Jessica Soho? AKMGF mo yan? Hindi ba yan si Kalwa? Na nababasa na yung tubig? Ano no? Ano? Post-colonial history. Post, meaning after the coming of the colonizer. When you see pre-colonial, before the coming of the colonizer. So let us try to look into how history was written after the coming of the colonizers. So madami. That's why if you're going to ask who are the true Filipino, it would be very difficult for you to answer what are the characteristics and the features of being a Filipino. Hindi mo sasabing puti, kasi hindi naman tayo puti. Hindi din naman tama sabing itim, dahil hindi naman tayo itim. Kayo manggi. It's difficult for us na sabihin kayo manggi because Filipinos are mixtures of different cultures. We are mixtures of different cultures. Lalo na sa kasalukuyan na yung mga kababaihan natin mahilig maghanap ng apams. Tingnan niyo, an ugly Filipina married a handsome foreigner. Diba lamig na kayong mga liwa? Tanawa si Juan o kanin si lawas kanin ngayon ko ni Kim Cho sa una si Gerald Anderson. Diba? Wapo kayo, mama kamurag Yaya. Hey! Gigi Bunir. Di ba? That's what, as what I've told you, a handsome, an ugly Filipina married a handsome pa. Nagkataon mga silingan, di ba?
Si Ivana po.
Oo. Tanaw mga silingan, di ba? Bapa kayo, kuwan. Tsaka piris kayo mga ang mga biyangka. Tapos naminyo, nakapag-asawa ng mga handsome foreigner, yung mga ata bibils, yung mga bata, yung mga anak nila, ang ganda. Di ba? Pero yung nanay, ano mo? Helper namin. Okay. Gano'n?
Kasi ba, Sir Bunny, Francis, bitaw. Kailan pinahens? Di ba po kayo siya gano'n?
Yes! Si Francis.
Francis Joseph.
Ata pa yan, guy.
Ay, no, sir. Paano mo naman siya? Wala mo siya bibigyan?
Anak ko na, guy. Huwag masama huwag mag-isip na masama. Ha?
Huwag ka lang mag-isip ni Mama, sir.
Anak din anak ko. I miss
Sino ba siya ulawon, sir?
Yes.
Ito mo kanta.
I miss my baby boy. So yun. So post-colonialism history. Look at the two things in writing the history. So makinig, history major ka. Dapat alam mo kung paano isinulat ang history. First, it tells the history of their nation that will highlight their identity from that of colonial discourse and knowledge. So according to the post-colonialism, the writing of the history under this theory, that we need to write history according to how it happened, where it happened, when it happened, without the influence of the colonizers. So halimbawa, pag ilarawan natin ang Pilipino, ilarawan natin kung ano ang Pilipino bago dumating ang mga mananakop. Kasi, you know what? Ilan ng mga colonizers, ilan ng mga mananakop ang dumating dito sa Pilipinas. But, ang dami. Yes, even European during the Napoleonic invasions. But only the Muslims are not being inhabited or not being colonized by the different colonizers. Because they fight together. Kaya kung titingnan mo yung mga, yung kultura nila, ay buong buo. It was not affected with other culture. Because colonizer failed to influence their culture. Kaya nga, according to the post-colonialism, in writing the history, we need to write the history according to how it happened, where it happened, when it happened, without the influence of the colonizer or without the colonial influence and colonial discourse. The second one is criticize the methods, effects, and the idea of colonialism. So, according to the post-colonialism in the writing of history, aside from we don't need, or it is not necessarily that the history will be influenced by its colonizer, we need also to criticize, we need also to determine, we need also to look into what are the results to the history due to the different colonizers. So, tingnan natin, parang we need to try to separate all those things and to come up with a pure one. Halimbawa, di ba? Di ba alam mo yung salaan? Diba? Pag gumawa ka ng gata, di ba, you need to have a strainer in order to separate yung sapal at saka yung puro dalisay na gata. That is the concept of post-colonialism. Question. So we're done with positivism and we're done also with post-colonialism. So next, so any questions or clarifications that you have in your mind in relation to what we have discussed? So, huwag kayong, ano yan? Don't be surprised why I usually use Filipino kasi hindi makaintindi yung isa niyong kasamahan ng Bisaya. So instead of discussing it using the vernacular language, kailangan kong gamitin ang Filipino para maintindihan ninyo. Ano yung pangalan mo, Miss?
Radia, sir. Radia.
Kadia.
Ra.
Radia. So Miss Radia cannot understand Bisaya, but instead, she was used to speak Tagalog. Because she was from Cotabato. Cotabato? Surala? What place in Cotabato?
Datupiyang, sir.
Datupiyang. Diba? Datupiyang, Surala, anong laro nyo? So, kaya hindi siya makaintindi ng Bisaya. So, at least, it would also be very important na maintindihan niya yung mga dinidiscuss natin. So that she could learn. But sooner or later, she will learn how to speak Bisaya to the influence of her classmates. So, kasalukuyan lang, hindi pa siya masyado makaintindi. Yes. History and the historian. So, what is the relationship of history and the historian? So, it is the historian's job not to seek historical evidences and facts, but also to interpret these facts. So, historians is responsible to evaluate the history, whether it is real or whether it is only copy from a copy which is not reliable, and interpret that facts. Interpret that facts. So facts cannot speak to themselves. It is the job of the historian to give meaning of this fact. So it is the role of the historian is to determine, to examine, and to evaluate the authenticity or the veracity of the truth sa iyong mananaliksik upang malaman ang katotohanan sa isang pangyayari. And in that instance, that is history. And we already know a while ago that history should be written according to what is facts, and it is subject and it is free from bias. Because we need to see to it that history should be written objectively. Kaya nga, I always encourage you to speak up your mind. Sa totoo lang tayo. Diba? Kaya ako as a gay, I am an advocate of hindi dapat yung mga bakla mag-asa na may forever. Kasi wala forever. Kahangalan lang yan. Diba? Wala kang forever sa babae at sa lalaki. nag-iiwalay na siya. Ikaw pa kaya nag-iiwan? Yung butas na ng ilong mo yung butas. Diba? Yun. It's hurt. It really hurts. Because that is part of love. That when you love someone, you need discipline. And what's about? Ha? Hindi na kayo, wala pa po, wala kita lang ako din talaga. Ayun na lang sila, manawag pa po ako, magpapunta pa po kumain. Ha? Wala pa po na inform. Facts cannot speak to themselves. It is the job of the historian to give meaning to these facts and organize them into a timely established courses and life history. So, nasa mananaliksik. It is in the historians that will help us know what is the truth of the matter. Pero kung ako, kung hindi pa ako history major, hindi ko na aalamin ang katotohanan. I would simple kung ano na yung nakikita. Enough. But sometimes in our lives, out of curiosity, we need to explore and go farther in order to know the truth behind the matter. But sometimes knowing the truth behind the matter, it will hurt us and it makes us. And knowing the truth, it will turn us into pieces. But don't worry. We need to pick up all those pieces and bring it with us to make us a whole, a new, a brand new one. And that is life. Ilan na yung news. Pero ako gusto ko na maka-experience on the stage. Because in my life, I had an experience na pinag-hilak sa akong relationship. Because I am an optimist. I am very optimistic. Pag wala ka sila, it's not my loss. It's not my loss, it's their loss. Diba? Oo. Kaya na na-doctor. If we are focused with our goals. Ano ang goals natin? Diba? Kaya na naghanap tayo naghanap na pumatong tayo sa kanila kasi we want to make our life better and happy. So, hindi naman talaga sila yung target ng goals natin. They are just only spices to life. Pwede ka naman magluto na walang bumbay, ahos ka na lang. Diba? Importante, maluto yung pagkain mo. Diba? So that's why I told you sometimes, you need to be practical. Mahal ang sibuyas bumbay ngayon, gumamit ka na lang ng sibuyas. Pareho din yun, sibuyas. Importante, maluto. Diba? And that is, dili maghila-hila. Despite the fact that historians cannot assert an absolute objectivity, the study of history remains scientific because of the rigor of research and methodology that historians employ. So, dahil sa, hindi naman natin talaga, we could not say that history was written or totally, or it is objectively written. It is still subject to different lapses. But it doesn't mean that it is not as objective as it is. Because also historians, they scrutinize their sources. And the methods of the gathering data is also very extensive. So there is a possibility that there is nearest to the truth. So what is historical methodology? So in writing the history, historian employ historical methodology or the methods of how the historian write the history. So it is not just simply you're writing and saying that what comes in your mind you are going to write anything. Because in history, there is a certain techniques and there is a certain rules that you need to observe. And that historian follow in order to properly utilize sources and historical evidences in the writing of history. So in historical methodology, if you are a history major, in that subjects you will be taught how to write historical events and what are the guidelines, the rules that you're going to observe in writing historical events. So this is the annals of school history. The annals of school history is a school of history which were concerned with social history and the annals scholar studies longer historical terms. So when you see social history, it is concerned more on the society and all the elements of the society. When you talk about social history, the main concern of social history is the society. How the people behave in a society, what are the different elements or factors na naa sa society, and how all those factors interrelates with each other. Ano yung kaugnayan ng bawat isa sa isang kasaysayan. Tayo ang sumulat ng ating kasaysayan. Kaya nga, ikaw ang may hawak ng diploma. Ikaw din ang nakakaalam kung paano mo isusulat ang iyong kasaysayan. That is the legacy that we have. So it's very important that we are certain and we already know how are we going to write our history. Ano yung gusto ng history sa buhay? Ikaw ba yung isang bakla na kagaya na maituturing na matigay?
Why?
Di ba? O gusto, ikaw ba yung isang bakla na gusto mo na lang magtitinda ng isda habang buhay? At hindi ka naahawin sa kahirapan? I can blame you if you are going to choose that. Kasi ikaw yun eh. Ikaw, hindi ako. Ikaw yun ang susulat ng iyong kasaysayan. Ikaw ba yung isang babaeng Muslim na ipipilit kung anong gusto mo kahit na hindi ito ayon sa inyong kultura? Pwede. Bakit pwede? Kasi ikaw yung susulat ng history mo eh. Diba? That is the annals of history. That is, we are the one writing the history of our life. Diba? Story of my life. There is a song that. Story of my life. Yeah. The story of my life. Then, nung kapanahonan nila, hindi kapanahonan ko, mayroon ding awiting, this is my life. Diba? Buhay ko to. And this is my life. Pero that is not my song choice. Hindi naman my song choice. Yeah, because my song choice is classical. Yes, because I used to sing, my head's like John, can't take you off my mind. From the time we met, I then be sing by tunes of you. And the more that I know this story, the more I find myself believing that I have. What? Oh, that's yun. I can't let you pass me by, I just can't let you go. Diba? I'm not sure. Or, pag nahuhubog na, marinig ka. Baby, frozen tears, it was hard through the years. I'll never give up, never one of my dreams. And deep inside, is my love still alive? And God only knows, 'cause I'm breaking up when I'm in love. Diba? Ana, bigit kay ka. Diba? Pero mag-away na dyan ka, kaya magbulang na dyan mo, kaya you find out na bigit ka, kaya bigit yun dapat. Kata na rin ka. I can say goodbye to you. For no matter how I try, you're such a part of me. Without you, I will die deep in my heart. I know that you're a disappointment. I always try to know what best, but how can I forget all the feelings we have shared? Ako na, pipili mong suday. I can say goodbye. Pero ako kanta dito, hindi kanina gina ako kanta dahil minsan ako'y tao lang na nadadama at natutot suri. Ayos mo at sakit na matutunan ka man sa bawat sandali hiram natin. Diba? Ana! Because God is in our lives. Because we are the one writing our own history. So it is up to you on how are you going to write your history? How are you going to start your history? How are you going to end up your history? And in short, that pertains to how the way you live your life. So, muna, there are times that you can say, this is my life. Yes. But anyways, kung natulogin, lalo hindi kayo mga meaning ko. I thought it was just only literal interpretation of what the term is all about. But it is more on the inner concept. What the inner concept? Because alam naman natin yung sino pumatay kay Rizal, sino si Rizal. That is not, in the study of history, hindi na natin yan pwedeng pag-aralan. Kasi anytime pwede natin yan basahin. Ang dapat natin intindihin kung paano isinulat ang kasaysayan. At paano natin malalaman kung ang kasaysayan ay naaayon sa dapat na mga pamantayan. And that is how history was written, who wrote the history, and what is the intention why we wrote such history. Ano din ang history? Pwede na tayo. Maganahan pa ka mag-history? Ha? Ganahan pa ka mag-history?
Madali din siya.
Because this is your choice. Of course, this is your life. No? That is your life. The historical sources. So we already know the theory behind writing history and how are we going to write the history and how are we going to end up our history. So in writing history, there are different sources. There are different sources. And those sources will help us establish the authenticity, or it will help us to determine whether history was written objectively or not. So based on these historical sources, it will guide us, it will help us to determine if history was written objectively. So there are sources of history. You have the primary and the secondary sources. And when we talk about primary sources, those are sources produced at the same time the event period or subject being studied. That's why in the study of history, primary sources is considered as the first-hand information. Parang witness lang yun, di ba? If you are the eyewitness, then you are present in the time that the events happen. Because you saw it with your two naked eyes. It is not according to, but it is what you have seen. For primary sources. Maybe you are there, or maybe you are one of those. You are part of those. Well, the second one is secondary sources. So ayon sa ating mga narinig, ayon sa ating mga nababasa, sa lungsod ng Misamis, di umano'y may manananggal na gumagala sa gabi. So halimbawa, di umano'y. It is a secondary sources dahil ayon yan. Di umano'y sa wikang Pilipino, ayon kay. Di ba? Hindi totoong siya yung nakakita. Di umano'y. May isang anananggal na nagmakaw sa ato. Di ba? That is what we call as secondary sources. Sources are the sources which were produced by an author who used primary sources to produce the material. So example, those what we have read from the books those are secondary sources. Because when the writer, the historians wrote that piece of historical events, there is also a primary sources used by the author in writing that historical events. So madali lang intindihin. Primary sources, secondary sources, and the most important thing is the authenticity of the sources. So if you're going to ask me which among the two are more authentic, the primary sources or the secondary sources, we could say that it's primary sources. Because the writer itself is there. He witnessed the event. Or there might be a possibility that he is one of the main actor during such particular event. Diba? Pero dili kung tanan kilo. Kailangan po yung mga nagsulat-sulat na sila about the story. Okay. Parang rin Nabi na uban din, anad na kay pamukbo. Nagalugayan gani. Karaniwang sanay na sila maglubid ng kasinungalingan na darating na dumating ang panahon na sila mismo ay naniniwala na rin sila sa kanilang mga kasinungalingan. There are people who are doing that. That they are used to tell lies. Yeah. It's become psychological because it seems that you think that all those things are just true. And so may mga ganun na mahilig maglubid ng mga kasinungalingan. So hanggang dumating ang panahon na sila mismo ay hindi na rin nila alam kung alin ang totoo at alin ang mga kasinungalingan sa kanilang mga sinasabi.
Tapos sa mga katubuan, kasi kahit kung may mabulati.
Oh,
Mabulati.
sakitan ko. I used to do that. Delusion is a psychological problem. It's a mental illness. Di ba marami kang mga love life. Pero kailangan mo na maglubid ng kasinungalingan. Wala ako kasi ako. Di ba? And later on, sometimes in your lives, the parang, yes, go ahead.
Considering about the
Authenticity.
of the almost our primary source cake, I've always been asking my research and how will yun ba since daghan ito kayo medyo crowded na ang itabok na kanang knowledge sir sa tuwa karon kanang about sa primary resources but what if sir kato yung ingon sir na kanang there are some nga kanang nag-create lang as if naa sila ang event. Is there any other way, sir, para
Yeah. Yes.
Primary?
Yes, how are you going to validate whether such primary sources is really authentic? That's why you have the secondary sources. Because secondary sources will validate if there is authenticity on the primary sources. Ganito yan ha. Parang ebidensya din yan. Parang nasa kaso, parang nasa korte tayo. Kasi sa korte, ganito yon. We're talking about evidence. To establish that there is a crime committed, kasi hindi naman directly ipakukulong ang isang tao kung hindi masasatisfy ang court kung mayroon tatlong pangunahing ebidensya. Una, there should be an object evidence. Object. So, kung ang kaso ay murder, ano bang pwedeng maaari natin gamitin pag murder case? Pinatay.
Kutsilyo.
Kutsilyo, ano pa?
Baril.
Baril. Pwede. So, that gun or that knife is an object evidence. Then, hindi pa yan sapat. kailangan pa natin, there would be a documentary evidence. Paano natin malalaman na sa baril siya namatay?
Pag may tama siya ng bala.
Kahit na may tama, hindi pa rin yan. Kailangan mo pang i-autopsy. So yung autopsy report, di ba? Titingnan ng doktor o kung ang pagkabaril ba ay ang sanhi ng kamatayan o baka nabaril siya tapos pagkabaril niya na heart attack siya. So hindi yung tama ng baril ang ikinamatay kundi na heart attack siya. So the result of the autopsy is considered as the documentary evidence. At ang ikatlo ay yung testimonial evidence ng mga eyewitness. So, yung mga taong andun. When you are going to present that before the court, ang unang gagawin in the order of the presentations in the court during testimony, uunahin yung witness. Uunahin ang testimonial evidence. Bakit? Bakit hindi i-present yung object at saka documentary? Kasi through the testimony of the witness, mako-confirm kung itong baril ba at itong autopsy report na tama ba saan siya tinamaan ay ang sanhi ng pagkamatay. So, the testimony of the witness will validate the authenticity of the object and the documentary evidence. So, kung balikan natin dito, the primary sources can be validated through the secondary sources.
Wala silang nag-interact, sir. So,
No, it doesn't need to be that they will interact with each other, but there should be a validations. Kung yung naghawid-hawid ni sa mong kamot ni sa uyab sila nga, di mo i-friend lang ni. Na ulit ka ba na puro na yung mga yuya? O niya ikaw, na uyab sila nga. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to believe na pag naghawid-hawid ni sa mong kamot, uyab kami, hindi ba? Hindi pa? Hindi naman naghawag kamay lang kami kasi friend kami, o best friend, o di kabayutan ever na yung mga ginagawa namin. So you need to validate it. Magtanong ka. O, alam mo yun sila. Diba? And that is considered as the secondary sources. So I am not telling you in the writing of the history that we only rely on the primary sources as the only source to prove that that particular event ay totoo or hindi. Kailangan mo pa rin magtanong, makialam, magmatiyag. Kasi hindi lahat ng manangkikita ng mga mata niyo ay pawang katotohanan. Hindi naman lahat dito nakaupo dito ay nakikinig sa ating talakayan. Yung iba ay hindi natin alam kung ano yung iniisip nila kasi kulang sila ng tulog. Di ba? Kulang ka ng tulog. Patulog ka nga na maaga. Di ba? Huwag masyadong magpagal. Huwag masyadong hardworking. Ha? Matulog ka naman. Di ba? Hindi naman masyadong, sometimes, kasi sa kasabihan, work and work makes one dull, makes one a lazy person. Kasi paminsan-minsan, pag palaging trabaho na lang iniisip natin, hindi na rin tayo makakaisip ng mga mabubuting bagay. Kasi parang mainitin yung ulo natin because we are preoccupied. Parang ako, lagi na lang kami trabaho. Yung iba dito, hindi naman nagtrabaho. Ano ba sila? Parang kami hindi binabayaran. Parang sila, wala na ginagawa sa buhay. Tapos ang saya-saya nila. Tapos ako, kahit kabayo, kahit kalabaw. Tapos ako, parang ako na lang dito, ako na lang malaki. Ganun na ba talaga ang buhay? Ano, di ba? So, magiging bugnutin. Kaya, you need to sleep sometimes. Matutulog ka pa ba? Sana all, ang dami mo siguro doon, ano? Kasi parang palagi kang, ha? Wala kang cellphone. Hanap ka lang bumili ng cellphone. Baka mag-sponsor sa'yo. Baka may mag-sponsor, di ba? Baka lang. Baka sakali. Wala namang masama, di ba? Sa baka sakali, baka along the way, makikita ka, nag-sponsor, o andun ba yung Panduay Civic, ano ba yung ambulan, ano yung mga sponsor dyan, o yung October Festa, yung San Miguel Festival, Doakan, ay Walwalan Days, di ba? Walwal. Alam mo yung walwal? Hindi ka naman magpawalwal eh. Kasi haram naman yun sa inyo, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Haram ang magwalwal. Haram ang magwalwal. Kawan mo ba sila magwalwal?
Yan po, boss.
Kasi mo kayo mo sa magwalwal. Maghubog-hubog ba? Because sometimes, you know what? Ako I find it therapeutic magbulan ng anak. Yeah, sometimes it is also therapeutic na mga nilanak ko.
Nag-isip ko din yung mga problems, sir, no? Sometimes na yung mga magtagal, makawala ko din sa mga problems.
That is what we call as diversion. It will also, kung magulbahan by nature are social animals. Sometimes through discussions, sharing of ideas, you can also get some ideas that will also applicable to you. So yun lang. But, hindi naman, ikaw naman yung may hawak ng sarili mo. Kung malasing ka ng isang bote, hindi uminom ka ng kalahati, kung malasing ka pa rin sa kalahati, then yung 1/4 na lang yung inumin mo. Kapag malasing ka rin sa 1/4, yung bote na lang yung kainin mo.
Diba?
Yeah! That is moderation. Because you are humans. Kaya hindi na yan kailangan sabihin, huwag kang uminom. Kasi kahit pag sabihin ko huwag kang uminom, kung talagang gusto mong uminom, iinom ka. Nobody can force you to do it. So kung nalasing ka, kasi uminom ka, huwag mong sisihin yung iba kasi kagustuhan mo yan. Kapag hindi mo yan kagustuhan, hindi ka mapipilit. Nobody can force you to do it. Unless kung ikakadila ka o mapipilit ka doon. Pero wala naman, hindi man siguro aabot na gano'n, di ba? It's the way how you take off and it's the way how you choose life. So, I hope that I answer your question. So, ganun yun. So, kaya in the presentations of evidence before the court, una talaga yung testimony. Kasi yung testimonial evidence, o yung testimony ng witness, siya yung magpuprove na ito talaga, yung taong yan yung pumasok ng bahay, siya yung nagnakaw, siya yung kumuha ng ganon. So napabalidate na yung object at saka yung documentary evidence. So dito, don't think of na kailangan there should be connections. So si primary sources, may nagsulat na ito yung nangyari. So tingnan mo, kung ang nagsabi ay si Juan de la Cruz na ito ang nangyari noong Itza People Power, pumasa ka ng ibang author din na sumulat ng ganun ding istorya. Si Pedro naman, ayon kay Pedro ito. So tingnan mo, kung makikita mo doon na ang isa ay kasunod sa isa, humanap ka pa ng isang source. So, halimbawa, ikatlong source mo, nakita mo na ito'y umaayon sa naunang naisalaysay. So, makikita mo doon na mas matimbang yung una. So, do not simple then. Hanap ka pa din ng iba para doon mo makikita kung alin sa dalawang nauunang teorya meron ka ang totoo at alin naman yung hindi pawang katotohanan o yun lang katang-isip na. Nakuha niyo?
Yes, sir.
Did you get?
Yes, sir.
By the way, can you understand the way how I discuss the lesson?
Yes, sir.
Naintindihin mo ba?
Yes, sir.
Can I discuss the subjects thoroughly? Mas madali bang intindihin mo? Or mahirap intindihin kung paano ko ito pinapaliwanag sa iyo?
Okay lang po, sir.
So, okay lang sa iyo. How about you, class? Nagkaintindihan ba tayo?
Yes,
Oo naman.
sir.
Magaling. Tama. Tatamaan at hindi nakita. Ngayon naman is let's proceed to what is external criticism. So the word external, yung mga nasa labas, diba? External. External. So kaya nga, a certain, bago yan na i-publish ang isang aklat or isang sanaysay o artikulo, kailangan pa mayroong tinatawag na external validator. Meaning, yung kung sa atin yan, somebody will edit or parang proofread, babasahin, tinitingnan kung Di ba mali ang pagkasulat? Tama ba ang pagkasalaysay? O may kailangan bang baguhin? Ganon. So, in order to determine the validity o yung katotohanan ng isang kasaysayan, kailangan may magbabasa to establish the authenticity of the evidence. So, kaya nga, they're going to look into those are the factors that they will look into. Titingnan nila the physical characteristics of such particular events, yung consistency. Ito ba'y naaayon sa kung ano ang nakasulat sa kasaysayan? O ito ba'y taliwas, o hindi ayon sa naisusulat sa kasaysayan? At ang mga nakasulat pa doon, or yung mga taong nagkumpirma are the authority. Because, kaya nga tingnan niyo. Kung mapapansin niyo sa English, during the time in Europe, ang mga play, di ba, simulat ni William Shakespeare, most of the play, the topic that we have are noble. Walang commoner, walang mga ordinaryong tao. Kasi because it is part of the culture in Europe, na wala namang manonood ng theater na mga karaniwang tao, parang mga mayayaman. So, do you think yung mga mayayaman, interesado sila sa buhay ng mga pagkaraniwang tao? Of course, they are not. They cannot relate because that is not their life. Kaya, most of the play of William Shakespeare, either in his tragedies, either in his comedy, or drama, it talks about the life of the noble and the wealthy person during his time. Kasi, sino ba nanonood ng theater? Mayayaman. Wala namang mga mahihirap na manonood ng theater. The common, libangan ng mga karaniwang tao is radyo, telebisyon, o di kaya sa sinihan. So, yun, that's his house. So,
Boring means you're no theater. Boring.
Boring ang?
Theater.
No, it's not. Theater is
Siguro, once sir ka na, depende sa
inyo, in your age or siguro in your interest, you cannot understand.
Naka-experience sa theater.
Of course.
Wala pa sir.
Of course. Because before in Manila, daming estudyante noon ng masko. Because ayos ka lang sa likod, that is my room. I used to teach here. Ako yung nagdala ng masko. That is the speech lab before. We have different majors. AB, Mass Communication, major in Broadcasting. May AB, major in Journalism. May AB, major in Pre-Production and Theater Arts. At saka yung pang-apat, gusto sa akin, AB, major in Advertising and Marketing. So I used to teach Pre-Productions and Theater before. So, but you know what? It depends also on the interest. Kasi sa'yo naman yan. Ako, for example, for me, if you will ask me to choose whether to watch a movie or to read a novel, I would rather go reading a novel rather than watching a movie. Because you know what, like for example, I watched Harry Potter. The only Harry Potter yung nakita ko sa sinihan is only the first book. Kasi after that, I vow and I promise to myself na hindi na ako manonood ng iba pang Harry Potter because it makes me disappointed. Kasi ang dami kong gusto makita doon sa sinihan na nabasa ko sa libro na hindi ko nakita.
Oh, yes, sir.
So it makes me disappointed. Even yung 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Darker.
Dahil alam ko pa sa
Oh.
sir niyo.
Yung iba, kasi para sa iba, sa kanila bastos yun pag ginasa mo. But if you're going to watch the movie, ang daming mga, because you want the, ang ganda-ganda na, halimbawa ng 50 Shades, trilogy kasi yan, 3 books yan. Ang ganda-ganda yan. Bakit? The 3 books talks about the transformations. Kasi sa story, total transformation para kay yung lalaki dyan is a lista. Alam mo yung sadis?
Yes, sir.
Na bago siya makipagtali, bago siya galawin yung kailangan niyang bubugin, kailangan niya i-inflict ng harm, kailangan makita ng dugo. Because he was used to that. Then, pero despite that, nakakita siya ng babae na mahal sa kanya kung ano siya. Then later on, in the middle of the competitions of darker, na-change siya. Kaya ang babae kasi para to satisfy satisfy siya is ginawa niya yun kung ano yung gusto gawin ng lalaki. Pero ang lalaki naman is iniwasan niyang gawin kung ano yung pinagkaraniwan niyang ginawa. So if you're going to look into that, there is a transformation. Yung babae dahil sa kanyang pagmamahal sa lalaki, kaya niyang gawin lahat ng mga bagay, mapasayanan niya yung lalaki. Yung lalaki naman, kaya niyang gawin, iwasan ang mga nakasanayan niyang gawin para lang mapasaya niya ang babae dahil sa kadahilanan mayroon siyang totoong pag-ibig. See, if you're going to watch the movie, you'll find it out parang kabastusan, kalayan. But if you're going to read the books, you will realize the essence of what is the important essence of that particular novel. Parang ang iba, kaya I don't watch movie yung mga story na ginawa nila ng movie na ako. Nanonood ko. What I do is, I usually read novels. I think I have almost all the novels, classical novels and everything I have. That's right. That what inspired me to take AP English major in literature, because I love to read stories, I love to read novels, I love to write stories. So when I take my masters, I also take literature as part of my majors. I taught my doctor of philosophy in English major in literature in University of San Jose because of the love of me. Because when I read books, it seems that I have a garden in my pocket. Muna yung pack mo lahat. Ako na may hatag blindness teacher. Kaya na.
Mga 10 minutes na siya, maboring ang person.
Wala naman. Ay! Hindi daghan. Daghan pang lipo sa library.
Kanang story, sir, ng mga movie. The Fault in Our Stars.
Ayun ang Netflix because I have that.
The Art.
I describe myself, I can describe myself as a voracious reader. Or if you could understand what is voracious
Sir, what is your
I
advice,
can,
sir? Pinakamahal na libro. Oo.
na mga 10, 15,
Oh my God! Pinakamahal na libro.
yeah, mga vintage books.
They call it the Your Power?
Sir, hindi na siya matutang.
No, it's not. I have also complete list of books for my room, for my room. About literature, na-complete ko ito.
Sir, no, grabe siya pakakuha.
Really grabe. Because that is necessary for me. How could I could be effectively teaching the subject if I don't have knowledge of that? How can I give it? How can I give something if I don't have it? Or in literal meaning and vernacular, hindi ka makagayad sa buta kung ikaw po buta. Muna sa kakulit ko, discuss ako ba yung ito. Kasi kanina pa. Gusto na po interactive na klase. Hindi na ko idea. Honestly, so really ko idea to teach undergrad classes. Pero, isang one, nobody can teach the subject, so I don't have any other option but to teach the subject.
Dapat din mo, sir, ito na ng graduate mo na kulang pa o mga ideas, knowledge, kulang pa sa ano.
May ako tagluan. Kuya, kuya, mga gaya. So,
Sir, probably there's a knowledgeable na.
hindi ko na-reach ako. Hindi pa ako kabalo. Ha? Ako taon yun.
Pabluto. Sharky.
So expect if you're taking public administration, you will be under me in siguro mga higher subjects or few subjects because before I don't religiously teach undergrad, boring dito, makakuyan ko. But this time, I learned to love the subject. I learned to love to teach the subjects. Anak na lang yun. That is for the love of teaching. Okay. Kung yan yung humanang ko yung klase, isa ka-adlaw ka.
Oh, grabe, sir.
Ang isa kasi Mr. Klase sa ka-adlaw. Kung bahala na din mo panginhas kung nabang mo na sa tag wala, kailangan po po. Yeah, I can do it.
Grabe din yan, sir.
Break.
Alam mo sa gusto, parehas niyo may isa sa high school, madala kong libro na mabasa ko sa tumanan. Is that what you want? Is that what you want me to do? No? Hindi ko kukuha na kita. Balon mo ko sa akong klase. I can discuss my topic very well. Sige lang, kailangan. So internal. When you say internal criticism, we are going to look into how history is written within the context. The truthfulness of the evidence. So mismo, we are going to evaluate the sources itself. Kanina, we are going to ask somebody to look into the historical pieces na itong isinulat kung para sa kanila, ito ba'y nagtataglay ng katotohanan. O, so basahin mo nga po, o tama na ba ito? Ayos na ba ito kasulat? Ayon ba ito sa kasaysayan? Ito ba talaga totoo nangyari noon? So that is more on trying to solicit ideas in order to validate kung totoo, and is external. Pero dito, mismo within the historical facts na isinulat mo, titingnan mo, you're going to evaluate the truthfulness o yung pawang katotohanan of the evidence. And in that instance, it look at the content of the source and examine the circumstances or the way how it is written, the way how it is produced. So yun. So kailangan yun. Kailangan yun. And thank you for listening. So next topic that we have. So we're done with the first sources. We have still remaining time and we'll proceed now to the next topic. So before that, any questions or point of clarifications that we have in relation to our discussions?
So far.
Uy, ang talino naman nyo. Ang talino
Ismail,
na talaga.
gamay sir, si makapamilang ay.
Ha?
Dinati gamay rin kung makapamilang ay.
Kung gaganti ay mo.
Mukha ni sir, wali ba? Pressure sir.
Ang-pressure mo sa ako.
Ano sir?
Ha? Kasi yung mga-pressurean.
Makaslip po sir.
Sila ko no, pressure.
Halos.
Ma-pressure po sila na ko no.
So, pwede ka mga water sir?
Yayo kan kayo. Malbog sila na ko no. Malbog sila sa kwa.
Makulda sir. Makulda.
Kami po sir.
Makulda. Kami makulda sir. Makulda. Makulda sir.
Pagkakit mo. When I klase naman ko, I'm doing my part. I discuss the lesson. Pero, we're friends. But in Thursday grades, we're also friends. Diba? Haman mahadlo kay because of my credibility as a teacher.
Yes sir.
Naunsa daw ko, na-terror ko. Yun sila. Kasi na-ibig ko. Terror ko.
Ilan sila sir? Ano mga medical? Medical naman ka sir.
Intimidating daw sa sir.
Ha?
Di umanoy.
So I am intimidating. That's because that is the way how I present myself. So I cannot change it because I know my topic. I know my lesson. So you will be intimidated if you don't know your share. Totoo ka. Diba? Totoo. Because that is your responsibility as a student. As a teacher, my responsibility is to present the lesson, discuss the lesson thoroughly, not to be debating the students.
Sir,
Yes?
do you consider yourself as a naive, sir? Do you still consider yourself as a naive, sir?
Ako, I'm not a naive. Why? Why you said so?
Sir, you're so knowledgeable enough to know sir, like, I can know na nimo most of the answer nyo. Yeah.
Dayon,
Then, like, if you're going to share something, sir,
Well, dili na lang ang Easter.
kung ako because of a situation, sir, I would never teach anyone. Alam mo, yun na sinulat. Hindi lang teach kay. Sir, lang kami, sir.
Pero what you going mo sila?
Yes, sir.
so you look at me, now with a gun, always remember, what I will encourage you, when I ask you questions or when I ask you to share your ideas, your experience is unique to you. That's what makes us a unique individual. So meaning, there are a lot of things that I have learned, which you don't also learn. But you have also a lot of ideas that you have learned, which I don't learn. That's why in every discussions that we have, there is always sharing of ideas. So when you ask me that I am naive or I am not look I did not look at myself as I am living in an ivory tower or meaning I am not all knowing. There are a lot of things which I still don't know. That's why I keep on studying. I keep on continuous learning because I do believe that what I have learned today might not be applicable tomorrow. Because the only real thing in this world is changes. Palang yung pagbabago lang. So, hindi naman natin masasabi na kung ano yung katotohanan sa kasalukuyan ay maging katotohanan pa rin yan bukas. So, ano yung gagawin natin? What will be the antidote? The antidote that we have, or the best thing that we could do, is to continuously learn so that we can continue to survive in this fast-changing world. Like for example, in technology, I was a graduate where the technology that we had before is only typewriter. We don't have computer then. But it is not a reason that I will not engage also in using technology in my class or learning computers or learning laptops and other productivity tools in order to enhance my teaching. Okay. It's already given and I cannot change the reality. But the only thing that I can do is to continuously learn and learn those things that I used to learn when I was also a student. Na-intimidate you kasi kung klase. That's why you look at me as a hero professor because I am very certain in the facts that I am teaching to my students. Kabalo ko what to teach. I know that all those knowledge that I share to my students are reliable knowledge. I don't read what I teach. I understand what I teach. I am teaching from my heart. You can ask me questions if you want to, as long as it is related, or questions that is related to that subjects or in relation to the course that you are taking. Di ba? Nagpimilit ka na. May pimilit ka, kaya tanaw na po, kung magtanong ko sa inyo, tingnan mo yung mata mo. Meaning, I am interested with you. Sino yung gusto dito kapag kinausap kayo ay nakatingin sa malayo yung guro niyo or it seems that he's not interested with the conversations that you have. Sino ba yun? Na parang hangin ka lang, kinakausap ka lang, pero parang hangin ka lang. Meaning, just for the sake of asking questions at hindi naman yun talaga asking questions in order to help the students grow and help the students learn. These are things na hindi yan mabuting gawin. Kasi you are not used to a kind of instructor na yung instructor na yung tinatawag natin particular sa class. What you are used to your instructor, your professor, professor na nagbabasa sa mga nag-discuss, gano'n yun. They are not well versed about their subject and that is not a good practice. And basically, I could be intimidated because I know my subject very well. I practice what I preach. I am not one page ahead from my students. They want to come because the way I ask questions is hypothetical questions. It's more of philosophical questions.
Next na po.
Follow-up questions. Because it's in philosophy. In philosophy, a question that ends with an answer that it always ends with a question. How are you going to look into the ultimate truth? Diba? What we're looking for in our study, diba? Sa ating pagtuon, sa ating pag-aaral, what we want to learn is the ultimate truth or the ultimate facts. That ultimate facts will help us in order to survive. Para at least we could survive. So kung ikaw i-share ka, what do I expect from you? Or to resign major ka, what do I expect from you? If you're under me in my class, assuming if you're under me with mice, or you're under me with in a related subject. So I'm not expecting too much from you. But you need to be more knowledgeable. So you need to read in advance. So, kaya nga, ayun simple to mediocre. So kung makasurvive mo sa kong klase, then good. But if you cannot, then hindi. Hindi na po so. Do not punish yourself. Diba? Hindi na po. We're now on the second chapter, the content and the contextual analysis of primary sources. So that will be our discussion. So we're going to discuss the content and the contextual analysis of the selected primary sources. So we already know what is primary sources and what is secondary sources. Somewhat pa ma-intimidate mo na 85% of passing sa exam and even quizzes. Na makakita kasi mong graduate na uwi. Sexy. You thought that when you are enrolled in BPI, it's as easy as compared to other institutions. That is totally wrong. But that is the idea that you have at the back of your mind. But sa iyo na iba, kaya na disol. Unlike with other institutions, it is more difficult to find it in those institutions. That's why it is a point you.
What is this house? But concert.
Dayon, tuyo ko rin yung eskwela sila. Let them attend my class. Dayon, kasi kung hindi pa ba, how are you going to answer that?
Let's see. Let's see.
Then karon, you have already experienced.
No,
Sir,
sir.
ikaw na lang, sir. Sagot ko sa candidate, sir.
Dayon,
This is Sir Yolim, but the other teacher is here.
other teachers kaya rin niyo.
Sir, kailangan ko alam po, sir.
Kailangan-
Sir, baka na, paano po kayo mag maka-gain siya kayo ka ng mga ideas and knowledge because sir, more knowledge sa lang mga teacher. Kung sa gamit yun, sir.
Class pastagan juga makatulad nila.
Mimo.
Dahil
Dapat mo kasi dapat may ka ng exam mo ba? Dapat kayo exam mo. Why kayo namin?
uy, si Koy,
Aside sa kuwan,
Tungkol kay system.
it's because in teaching, it is interrelated. There are areas that are closely related with other areas. Because in teaching, you are not only teaching an isolated bits of facts. Kung mag-school ka, history is a social science. When you see social science, it also covers philosophy, it also covers anthropology, it also covers economics, and there are different branches. Kung ka biology, kana botany, kana siya mga zoology, those are just only branches, diba?
Ang ganun sir na kayo, wakan yung teach o ginanasi.
It pa po sa kampo. I mean, hindi ko matulog because I am loyal to the peace.
Pero kung masulod ka, pinamis makasulod dito sa
Anytime, no problem. Pero kailangan dyan po the peace. Before, I used to teach in the sun. I used to teach before in MIT, but not in MIT. MIT ko is 1 year and a half. English
Sa Lasal,
teacher ko. Sa Lasal is science ko. Science, not science. Natural science. We back in 1996, 97. You were still young or magaling ka na ng tao.
Kaya ng tao sa
Wala ka kayo kamuwang-muwang sa Hindi na? Yes. So ano?
Dili pa yan si sir. Ay, or ako na ko.
Ikaw man. Ay, beautiful.
Ay, ato mo saan ko niya ako sir, 4th year po.
Dahil, dagan kay ko sa una sa pag-ibang niya, dagan is like sa high school sila abot sila mga 400 ka pinto. Nagkagyan kay ko sa ako ng niya. Yes! Kaya sa Antonio, mayroon na yung invite ka mo ana o kisi ka mo mabilin nila. Okay.
Ladies, sir. So, lang mga batchmate na po, sir. Silang Oriel, silang...
Ay, una pa kita na nila. Una pa na nila. So, kinausaw na ka na nila na ako kaya sa kuhan kini Malaubang. Asulas to dela ang kani. So, I love to see you sa magkahuman mo. I want you to be successful. Kaya dili dalit ang kinabuhi upayo. Our life is not as easy as it is. It's more, it's like a roller coaster. It involves a lot of emotions, especially if you don't know how to handle your life. But I cannot force, I cannot insist that you will be me because I don't want also to be you. So the only thing that I can give you is a piece of advice that do what is good for you. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. It's not my life. Pero di mo galing, pinalala ng kinabulong ka. Hindi mo ka makaingon yung lago sila. Sadya lang talaga mapagmahal sila. Alright? Pero ako kandukan ko dito. Ako lang po yung bilang.
So far.
Not so far.
Not so far.
Lagi. Wala
Big
pa dyan.
because of
Wala
that.
pa ba nakikita?
No. Ha?
Wala pa ka nakikita?
Wala, June. Wala. Gusto mo pa na ako. Wala pa.
Sir?
Dili kinano, ako lalo mo dugo. Hindi na ko ganahan.
Bye-bye.
Yes. I am very practical. I'm very practical. I always incite myself that there is no such word as permanent. People change. People change. Ano hindi ka maglakila ka? Nakalmod siya. The most important thing is you make your life easier and you enjoy life. Wala sila ka maglakila. That's my motto. Wala, no? Luluin ko na ako mga sister niya. Pagkalaan ko mga broken hearted sila. Kaya pre-awake nurse.
Ano mo?
Ha? Pre-awake nurse ka eh. Pre-awake mo ka blanca. So we're now on the chapter 2, content and the contextual analysis of the selected primary sources. So, in that instance, I want you to study in advance on the content and the contextual analysis of selected primary sources. And we will discuss that through a short piece, 2 pages siguro, as a sort of quiz na next Thursday. So, I will not be around tomorrow. So, I'll not be around tomorrow. Because tomorrow is fiesta sa Pagko. No, but I'm not going to Pagko. I'm going to Pagko, Tuligan.
Ligo pangiligan, sir.
Because I need to fulfill a promise that I have committed. Wala, ilan na kamats. Doon ka po na yung karelasyon nila. I invited you to be there. Tuon lang.
Kasi ko na iligan, sir, no? Kaya once pesta sila iligan. Galang sila mag-pesta.
Oo.
Iligan yun. Kuha na lang dyan kung lagyo ka ng parsa na sa kuha na yun. Lagyo na
Hindi
yun.
pala sa tama.
Example stage.
Sa kalang
Una, ang kinahanglan dyan niya. So I think we're done. Any questions or point of clarifications in relation to what we have discussed this afternoon? Because if there is none, then let us call the day off. Then, of course, don't forget to spread love. Why? Because the only thing that evil cannot imitate is love. And that is the only thing that nobody can take it away from us. So we need to spread love, learn to love, be unlovable. Because as what I told you again and again, the only thing that evil cannot imitate is love. Evil can imitate the image of God, but evil cannot imitate love because evil doesn't want love.
Love is
But if we are full of love, we love the people around us, we can spread love, and we can see we can plant the seed of love to others. So goodbye and see you on Thursday and of course on Monday with your other subjects if you are under me. And God bless. Have a nice day. Goodbye.